Welcome to the InSession Film Podcast for April 13th, 2014. This is episode 60. I'm JD Duran.
And I am Blake Bertuzzi.
And I'm James Shaw.
And this week on our show, James, thanks for being here. This is your first time on the show, man. Thanks for being here.
No problem. We've been trying to get together for a while, so I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. For those of you that don't know, like I said, this is James' first time on the podcast, but he's actually been featured on our website for a little while now, as he's been kind of a second writer to me as far as movie reviews. He's had a bunch of them come up on the site over the last several months, so he has been a little bit a part of the InSession Film crew already. We've been trying to get him on for a little while, like you said, so I'm glad you're here. James, I know you write for some other sites and your own personal stuff. Tell the people out there where they can find you on the internet.
I currently have my own website right now, screenhumor.com. I focus on movies, but I'm also starting to do some comic books as well.
Oh, nice.
And I might throw some tech in, just to do it all,
Very nice. Yeah, very nice. And thanks for writing for us. Thanks for being here. It's definitely good to have you here. And on this week's show, we're going to be reviewing Kevin Costner's new movie. Again, I feel like we've said that quite a lot already this year. Where we're talking about Draft Day, and going off of that, we're going to be discussing our top 3 sports movie characters. Moving on to the third segment, I think we're going to geek out a little bit more with some comic book-y type movie news before we finish off the show with movies we've seen this week, as usual. Before we get into it, fellas, how was your guys' week?
Week was pretty solid. Just didn't do much. It's been great weather here in San Diego, so I feel so nice. Have nice weather all the time, and just been laid back. Just keeping up on movie news, comic books, just the usual.
Very nice, very nice. What about you, Blake? How was your week?
Not too bad. I spent it every other day with random doctor's appointments that I had to keep up with here, trying to get everything back in line and get back to work. So uneventful this week. I got another one on Tuesday here. Hopefully should be the final go-ahead with that. Enjoyed a couple of decent days of weather up here, so it's not quite San Diego, but
sure.
It's 80 degrees here today in Lexington, Kentucky.
It's better for
Tuesday,
us, for
it's
sure.
Going to snow. It's going to snow on Tuesday, and it was 80 today.
That's
so
insane.
Welcome to Kentucky. It's ridiculous here. It's no wonder that people get sick all the time and have allergies.
Yeah,
all that kind of
it's
stuff.
crazy.
So anyway, just trying to get past all that there anyway. But just looking forward to this week here and moving forward anyway. So what about you, JD?
My week was good. Very busy as usual. We were featured on another podcast. I just kind of wanted to throw this out there real fast because this was pretty awesome. But there's some guys out there that own Talking Head podcasts, and essentially what they do is they have a couple different shows. But one of the shows that they have is called For the Love of the Pod, and essentially it's just a podcast that features other shows so that people can find some cool podcasts. And we were featured on their show last week, and they had some really, really nice things to say about us, and I was pretty blown away by their kind words and everything. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to them. That was something that just kind of really blew me away this last week. I was very, very appreciative of that and what they were doing. So definitely be sure and go and check that out if you get a chance. Outside of that, my week is very good. The fiance was on her bachelorette weekend in Florida, so I spent most of it by myself watching movies all weekend. So very fun. But we have a good show. I'm pretty ready to talk about Draft Day. So let's get into it.
And here we go.
You're listening to the InSession Film Podcast. This is episode 60. So, Blake, those Seahawks got what was coming to them.
Yeah, they did. Those pancake-eating motherfuckers.
That ball you want to take? That there's a mistake. Callahan's a poser.
Yeah. And what do you know that every scout and coach on earth does not?
I know we got sacked 12 times last year.
No, it was 11. It was 11 times.
Yeah, well, 4 were mine in one game.
Yeah, I remember. I saw your highlight reel. I also remember that he beat you.
Watch it again. Don't watch me. Watch him. Watch me sack him 4 times in one game, then watch what happens after.
All right, Draft Day is directed by Ivan Reitman and stars Kevin Costner, Chadwick Boseman, Jennifer Garner, and a whole slew of other people as well. All right, before we get into this, I guess let's just preface out there saying that I think all three of us are NFL fans, if I'm correct. I know, Blake, you're a Bengals fan, and James, I think you're a Seahawks fan, correct?
Correct.
And I'm a Lions fan, so we have some sort of pull into this movie as this is something that we do follow, at least on some level. So that being said, what did you guys think about the movie Draft Day?
I thought Draft Day was fairly decent movie. Definitely a good representation, I think, of the NFL draft. I wish they would have picked a different team.
Sure.
But Cleveland needs some love, I guess. That's probably the only way they'll get any publicity.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I thought it was surprisingly well. Like all the cameos, so it definitely felt like a natural, like you're really watching the NFL draft. You know,
sure.
Seeing Chris Berman and all them, I really thought, whoa, is this really going on right now? You know, but
sure.
Till I realized it was Cleveland, I was like, yeah, it's just a movie. But definitely, I thought it was, like I said, it was okay movie. I mean, Costner did a surprisingly decent job since he's had two really bad movies, in my opinion, the last two. But yeah, sure. So what do you guys think?
But, I actually ended up liking it a whole lot more than I thought I would. The thing is, as with most sports movies, especially ones like this you kind of know what the end result is going to be, even when you go in there. When you signed up, when you bought the ticket, you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
It ends up being a feel-good story for the most part. They try to get to that there. But no, I think that the fact that they really don't use any actual NFL players in there. That's all fictional characters.
Yeah.
And the only people that you have are some other sports TV type people, mainly Rich Eisen, Chris Berman, John Gruden, Mel Kiper, those guys, which I think did it really well. I was afraid that it was going to be really cheesy as far as their part in the movie, and I didn't feel that way. So except for like the one couple lines that a commissioner had, when he was talking to the owner of the Browns character backstage or whatever, it was kind of generic there. But no, I thought it was a lot better than I anticipated. I thought Kevin Costner was great in this movie here. This movie is definitely his wheelhouse. What I prefer to see him in, that kind of role, especially when he got to open it up more in the third act.
Sure.
There were a couple things where they tried to force in a few other little subplots, with the family and his relationship and things like that. But I think that everything else out was paced really well. I thought some of the other characters in there, like Dennis Leary as Coach Penn, was really good. So overall, I really liked it, actually. I was surprised to say that. I thought it would be kind of ho-hum, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, I'll have to say.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Blake. I actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than I had anticipated. I also have to go on the record and say that I'm a big Lions fan and I'm a big Michigan fan. Now, every Michigan fan and every Lions fan out there will tell you the exact same thing. We hate Ohio State. We hate the Cleveland Browns. Like, that's pretty universal.
Right.
And so with those two teams being featured here, that's kind of a hard thing for me to say. So for the sake of this review, and I had to do the same thing when I was reviewing it on the site, I kind of have to throw that a little bit out the window because I can let that be distracting to me. But I do think it's pretty easy to see that Ohio love throughout the film. So that being said, I still enjoyed this movie for what it was. Like you were saying, Blake, we've talked about Kevin Costner actually quite a bit over the last several months because, like we said earlier, he's been featured in several films already this year. But this is definitely the kind of film where he is going to shine. This is, like you said, it's right up his wheelhouse. This is things where he's strong in. We don't need him being an action hero or anything like that. Let other people do those things. But this kind of stuff is good for him. And like you guys, I loved him in this role. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I also loved the opening sequence. I thought they used Chris Berman and that ESPN crew really well. They're the face for the NFL, especially for a lot of people. They're the face of the NFL draft, which is obviously what this whole film is about. So I think to have Chris Berman intro the film and intro the draft, I think was a perfect choice. I thought that really set the tone well, and I love the way that they use that. one of the first things you're going to notice about for the entire version of our podcast, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher, or check us out online at InSessionFilm.com.